everyone. Welcome to the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska, and he is the Jay Foreman, our NFL veteran and former Nebraska Blackshirt. Jay, we have another Husker win to break down here, 28-14 last Saturday over Louisiana Tech out of Ruston, Louisiana. Obviously a really good rushing day once again for the Huskers, 312 rushing yards on the ground. They break off a few ones. They have a few come back due to some holding penalties. But overall, I don't know, Jay, like we talked about that game a little before filming here. It was a little, I don't want to say boring, but it was just kind of like almost like a slog, almost like a sleepy type game. With big bad number 2 Michigan coming to town next week. And I'm not saying that anybody was looking ahead, but it was just kind of an odd game. Then you throw in the lightning delay, almost an hour long, and it was just like, oh man, maybe everybody should have just gone home at that point. But first of all, what are your overall thoughts? The Huskers evening their record at 500 at 2-2.
Well, I think it's a good thing versus the past where we're talking about 2 wins in a row. And I don't know how often we did that before because we're only winning 3, 4, 5 games a year. So I don't think it was pretty, consistent. So I think, you're taking baby steps or a step in the right direction to when you're complaining about a second win in a row against a team like Louisiana Tech, which Nebraska in the past has either struggled with or lost to on multiple occasions. So in that case, it's good. I think really the game was it was kind of like the day. Overcast, rainy, drizzly. You don't know whether to put on a rain suit. Then the sun comes out, so then you start to see some good football. And then overcast comes, lightning delay, you don't know what to do, and then Nebraska eventually finished it out. So I think it really was a microcosm of the day, the way the day, the weather was. And, look, a ugly or boring win is something that would have been appreciated and needed for the last 8-9 years. I could probably say. And so that's the way Matt Rule and those guys have said that they're going to play. Now I think really what like I said, I keep saying this. The expectations going into the season, people would have been okay with being 2-2 right now, right? Most likely people would say 3-1 because majority of people thought we were going to lose to Minnesota. Well, through 3 7/8 of a quarter, those expectations drastically changed based on how Nebraska played and surprised a lot of people. Obviously, the defense is playing really well, playing consistent, and you saw the offense, when ran correctly, looked, pretty formidable, right? And until they started shooting themselves in the foot. And then everybody assumed that, Nebraska would beat Colorado. Well, you give away a game against Minnesota, you get boat raced by Colorado, and then you're still thinking of revisionist history, which is the first week and how you played at times against Colorado. And so you expect that type of effort every week. But you have to understand this is a team in transition. A lot of guys really don't know what they don't know. And they've been put in a blender of higher expectations internally and externally that they've never had to reach before. And so now they're really trying to navigate through this in a high pressure situation at the University of Nebraska, and the coaching staff as well. They're getting used to being in this kind of fishbowl and high pressure, and getting used to like every play is dissected. Every fan knows good football and not good football. And so when you have games like this, and you have people up in arms about it, I think it's a good thing. But there's still plenty of teaching tape, and heading into number 2 Michigan, you shouldn't feel less confident based on how you played. You should feel more confident that we haven't hit our peak yet. And there's no better time at home. I think this is the Big Ten game of the week or whatever, because it's a 2:30 game. And if you want to do upset city, if you want to let everybody know that you are for real, go out there and represent yourself Saturday at 2:30.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to be excited to break down that Michigan game when it happens. But for now, let's put a cap on this Louisiana Tech win. So like I said before, 312 rushing yards on the ground for Nebraska against La Tech. Heinrich Harburg had 157, 1 touchdown run. He had a 72-yard option keeper that he took. Anthony Grant, 22 carries from the running back position, 135 yards. Most of that came in the second half. One touchdown. He also popped off for a 34-yard run. So it was a good day on the ground. I think after the game, Matt Rule said anytime you can get over 300, it's like you're going to be happy with that. And that's where we're going to start right now with that ground game. So Jay, I saw this. We were talking about this before we started filming, but this offensive formation from the Huskers, 22 big personnel, right? So you got your offensive line. You have Teddy Prohaska acting as that tight end, but he's an extra offensive lineman. Luke Lindenmeyer, a walk-on, excellent blocker out there. And then I formation right behind Harburg with Lindenmeyer Barrett Liebentritt, the Notre Dame transfer from Omaha Skutt, and then obviously Anthony Grant. So this is the 4th and 1 play that Grant takes all the way down to the 2-yard line.
Yeah, it's a good look. Listen, this is no fair dodging right here. This is what I like right here, right? This is fall. First day of fall, I think, was Saturday. So we're letting you know that we're going to play some fall football. You got your best blocking receiver and Alex Bullock as well, right? So you're you're letting Louisiana Tech knowing exactly where we're going. Because look, 44 is not motioning. He's letting you know what he's doing. We're coming right at you, no fair dodging. This is a tone setting play. And sometimes these power plays out of big 22 personnel, either they're stopped for a first down or they can be an explosive run. Yeah. And Anthony Grant does a really good job of being tight, right? And in his initial path, right? And you look at 34 coming out of his stance. Piper good out of his stance, tight, good initial movement right there. And a good kickoff block by the fullback. Piper's nice and tight. Look at him drop his hips a little bit, get some movement. Anthony Grant is tight right there. Good job by Piper, kind of creating a soft edge. Anthony Grant sees it after the first down. And as we always said, when we do a lot of the high school tapes, you hit the sideline, you like to crank up the band, and that's where explosive plays come, whether they're run or pass. So I like the play call. I like the mentality play call. It's 7-7. It's the beginning of the third quarter. You're coming out maybe a little disappointed on your first half performance, right? Yeah. But you are where you are. It is what it is. 4th and 1. We're going for it. We're letting you know, listen, this is a totally different team, and we saw it last week against Northern Illinois where when they decide to go big, it's good. You bring Teddy Prohaska in there as another tackle, get the edge. Look at that punch right there by 65 and 44. I mean, look at the leverage of 44. Right? Regardless of what people think. Look at that. Teddy getting into him. You'd like a little bit more leverage. Turns him. Look at that. Knocks him back. Watch 44 stick his face in there. Hello. Right? Right in the chest. Right? Knocking him back. And look at it. And finishing his block. See, that's what you like right there. That's what you can, appreciate and fall in love with. Right? This initial punch. We're talking about resetting the line of scrimmage right here. Right, you like Ben Hart to be a little bit lower, right? Right, see him get knocked back, right? But a good recovery. Look at hands inside, which is different than him. Look at him, keep at it, right? Secondary recovery, counter punch, stays on his guy, right? And everybody else is doing a really good job. Then Anthony Grant is doing what he does best, right? Physical, making the first guy miss with a stiff arm. Now he's going to look up 21 and try to squeak in there for a touchdown. And then obviously he scores, I think, in the next play or two. So, I like it. This is something that they tried to do last year, but I think the mentality and the way that they coach it and they call it is different. This is a staple in their offense, right? And Michigan has something to prepare for because these guys are on each other. And even on the backside, Noelle, and I think that's Corcoran finishing their guys as well. So it's not just at the point of attack, it's the backside. Really well blocked and really well executed. All around. Now, obviously, nothing's ever perfect, but for this team, that's really good. And then you got right here, this is an outside option play, load option play. So what you want to do is get out on the edge and, right here, right? You got good movement right there. You're optioning off of 21. Good job by the fullback getting up on number 6, who actually was a pretty good linebacker, right? He made a ton of plays. So when you're looking at it, right? Bryce Benhart, hard block, head up inside, set the edge, right? You want to see improvement right here, and he does it. So you got to give him props, right? Look, he's quick off the ball. We ain't never seen that before. He looked like he'd been shot at. Listen, Bryce Benhart has had some trouble, but look at who's the first. Look at him, right?
He's moving before 5 moves. Yeah.
Right. That's what you're right. He's off the ball. Look at him. He knows he knows what the business is. Look at it. I mean, when have we ever seen Bryce Benhart come out of his stance like that?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's 6'8", 6'9". It's hard to get low. It's super low. But look how he's able to. He's fighting for position. Right now, you'd like him to have a little bit more edge, and then you have Latowski and the fullback right there getting up on 6, and then now it's up to the quarterback who's 6'4", 225, not only to get the first down but to be physical. Right, good ball security. Look at high and tight. 2 or 3 yards after contact. It's a winning play. It's not blocked perfectly. Now, I will say this, but also let's okay, now we're talking about trying to be physical, right? At the top of the screen. That's there he is, Tommy Hill. Look at it. You talk about how you right? Look at the leg drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Garrett McGuire, look at hands inside doing his thing. This is the things that Matt Rule can be encouraged by, right? You would like to see Latowski to be able to get up on 6 so the fullback can get out there on number 2. But the difference is you can't cut block. So generally when they ran this play when I played, Latowski right here is coming off tight, optioning off 21. Number 6 is chopped down right now. 34 is up on 2.
Yep.
And Tommy Frazier, Scott Frost, Eric Crouch, you're striking up the band right now, and it's an explosive run. So good job by Latowski running, trying to get some extra work. He should probably he's trying to get on 15. But the rules of college football have changed where you can't, chop block people. But look, these are 2 plays that you see right here that when they pull them out, that it run pretty well, and you like it. You even look at where Ben Scott right here. Ben Scott has a hard block, right? You got to snap the ball, good snap, and he's in a one technique kind of shaded. You see Ben Scott is quick, right? This is why he was probably a good get out of the transfer portal. Watch this. Boom. Get it out there. Already win. Look at his head right there. You'd like him to flip his hips. You'd like that even a little bit more. But look at Ben Scott right there. Flip his hips. Work the hands right there. Look like a dancing backside, right? Who do you got? Turner Corcoran on his guy, and I think that is Nuri on his or no, Prohaska's on his guy, and Nuri and Piper doing their thing. So look, it's a good executed play, not as good as the first one, but it's a winning play, and you like it because of physicality. And give the offensive line coach Donovan Rail a credit. They're quicker off the ball with more intention. They're doing better. You'd like to see, I think at the beginning of the game, more of this, right?
Yeah.
More of these play calls, conventional runs. We're lining up. We're punching you in the face. This could look at it at kind of a conventional run, right? Because there is no pass off of this, right? Tommy Hill ain't. I mean, he blocking right from the get go, right?
Yep.
So but these are the plays, 5, 6, 7 yards that kind of bludgeon you right here. 2nd and 3, right? You expect pass here, right? But guess what? We're coming right at you. We're going to keep knocking down first downs, and so I like these 2 plays. I like the physicality that they're trying to play with. And then obviously, as we do this every week, this is a play right here as far as I'll call these direct access pressure on the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, that Ben Scott, they feel very comfortable with Ben Scott being able to be quick enough to go out and take on a blitzer, right? And so this is either a line call or a predetermined slide protection where he's got 21. Now, the problem is this. We don't have the end zone copy and Heinrich Harbor had his helmet knocked off right there. But Latowski's in a disadvantage or in a disadvantageous position here by alignment, blocking down on a smaller, quicker one technique, right? These guys are going to be quicker. The penetration they're going to try to get, he has to block down because it's turn back protection, right? With Ben Scott flipping out. Now, the way that you could adjust to that is have Ben Scott block down and have Latowski get out on 21. Now, Latowski's probably not the most fleet of foot. So you would like a little bit of anticipation or more anticipation of Latowski there. You see when you kind of like just lunge right there. See, watch his hands right. The first thing you see is his hands and his feet are dead. Watch this. Boom, you're done right there. You're done, right? Because when you lunge like that, your feet stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's just a little technique thing. And then, obviously it just kind of bum rushes the whole play, but then it ends up being a 6. I mean, this looks like a 10, 12-yard loss.
It was a big one, yeah.
Right. This is on the
And the
highlight
quarterback
tape.
had to leave. Yes.
Yeah, and the quarterback's helmet's off. Those are things that I put up on my Instagram or something. If if I could get a still picture, I'm knocking helmets off.
Yeah.
And so you probably, I'm sure if they get back, Marcus Satterfield, Rayola get together and say, okay, let's see how we can give ourselves a better fighting chance, regardless of who's in there. Because even if Newelly's in there or another guard, in my opinion, that's a hard block, right? Blocking down a quick defensive lineman that's on off the ball pretty quick. You could change up the snap count a little bit to slow him down. But reality is the position and to block it, and then also Latowski being a little late with his feet, right? Once you miss right there, you want to, and he overextends with the punch, allows the defense lineman to get in there and sack Harburg, and the play was dead in the water. So it doesn't even really matter what the route combination was. Play action pass, and this is take a shot area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you'd like to get up on them safeties, and maybe you see Borkature kind of up on the safety, and you saw a couple of receivers getting to the second level pretty quick, but it's dead in the water. So the play call might have been good, right? Look at that play action. The safety's up there. Somebody's got to be open. But in reality, the direct access play nullified that right from the get-go.
Jay, one thing I wanted to ask is, you see it all the time in football. The centers, they loop around and they're acting like extra protection for like a quarterback rolling out. Can you just tell me why like that's so common in football? Why, pull the center after he snaps the ball and just kind of lead blocks for the quarterback on his rollout? Why do they do that?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually a different way to create a pocket, right? So ideally that block is there with Latowski, right? Your slide protection, you got Emmett Johnson out there checking outside in, right? He doesn't do a very good job, right? Because Turner Corcoran is expecting outside help. Look how hard he's leaning inside. So then what Ben Scott's going to do, right? It gives an easier job to Bryce Benhart, and it's max protection. You got Thomas Fidone helping down on that guy right there. You feel good with Ben Scott because you feel he's quick enough and smart enough that he can be quick enough to handle an edge rusher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in theory, this is a good blocking scheme for this blitz, nickel blitz, right? So that's why you do it, because you have a center that you feel is probably better in space than 59, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have max protect or check for protection with Emmett Johnson and Thomas Fidone. So you have your two tackles covered, and you feel good with Piper here one-on-one turn protection, right? Fan protection on the left side, turning on the inside right here, and Latowski just gets beat. So you do it when centers are expected to be able to pull and snap and do all that type of stuff. You saw it. We were blessed to have Cam Jurgens, and Hickson last year was actually better than what people actually gave him credit for. And so this is nothing new. It's just a way that they do it, and these are the expectations of playing center at a major Division I Power 5 program.
Cool. And one last play, obviously, it was my favorite play of the entire game. I think Big Ten Network probably really enjoyed it too, was Deshaun Singleton's just tackle on this. That dude was going downhill and he was not stopping. It was a really, really fun hit. I think 3 of the 4 leading tacklers on the defense were from the defensive backfield.
The two safeties in the rover, and
they're everywhere.
They're active, and
they're active.
Granted, now the teams are short area passing games and stressing them, but they're making tackles. The best thing about Singleton right here, he reads it and beats the crack block. Watch this.
Yeah, number 1, right?
Number 1 didn't want any parts. Watch. I mean, rewind this back here, right? Watch number 1. You come with viciousness and speed, knock them, and then you knock them back. Watch. I mean, just watch this right here, right? He sees it, hit. We used to call this hitting and splitting it, right?
He's absolutely looking at Singleton, and he just pulls off.
No, he don't want any of that.
I didn't notice that until
But look at the tackle right there, right? And the knockback, right? And this is something that Singleton has got significantly better at since the spring. Boom, right? That's what I mean. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. I'm talking about the initial want to, right, and physicality of this play, right? Even if he did get kind of crack blocked right there, he's coming down on the play entry. He is the filler, right? He is the hitter, right? And it would make Newsome's job even better. So when you think about Tony White in this defense, right, it's the angles to the ball. It's the knowing where you are and arriving to the party with the right intentions. And if he didn't make it, Newsome's right there. So you wonder. So here's what people are saying generally. This is across the nation about Nebraska defense. Man, they look faster and they look quicker. I'm sure Coach Campbell and those guys have done a really good job in the weight room. Have they gotten leaner and quick? Yeah, they look different. Have they got so much faster that they're playing like this? No, they haven't. What they're doing is, or what the deal is, they know what they're doing, when they're supposed to doing it. It's supposed to be doing it, and more importantly, Steve and people out there listening, it's the why. And when you know all three of those, what you're doing, when you're supposed to do it, and why you're doing it, the three W's, you play like this. So then you can take calculated guesses, which end up being right 90% of the time. You can go here and run through this and be physical. And if you miss the tackle, then you see, okay, the Nebraska's a better tackling team. You got Chief Borders there, and you got Newsome there, and you got the sideline. You got three defenders there, all based on what number 8 doing. The Singleton right there is doing the right thing, right? So that's the difference, and it's a great play, and he should have been highlighted. This is a good play right here. Look, if you want to end the game, boom, fourth quarter. Welcome to the fourth quarter. Game over. Right there. It's no different against Anthony Grant last year against Rutgers in New Jersey. What did he do? Came out, ran the dude over, game change. 21-7. They're in a position that they think they're going to score. They're at the 50, right? 2 first downs. You're still within striking distance with a 3-pointer or with a field goal. I'm thinking basketball now. With a field goal, you're still in it. You can still be in it. We just nullified that. Came right downhill. And the best thing about the play entry was no false steps. Did you and then if you go back and obviously people can go back and look at it, right? And it's all over Big Ten and Huskers and stuff.
We can look at it right now again.
But look at listen, look at the no false steps, right? This is how you look faster. Look at this.
He doesn't hesitate at all.
Right. But look at him, and then look who's married to him, right? Watch Newsome. Look at the feet. Look at the hitting position. Do you see how they're dropping their hips? How they're exploding, and then I call it killing grass. Watch this. He's exploding there, right? Killing grass. Look at the pad level drop. Boom. Now look at Newsome, right there.
Yeah, chopping his
tackle
feet.
for loss. Right. You got to explode to the edge of contact and then explode again. So right there alone, that's the difference, right? That's what you're doing. Play entry, get up off me, boom, like a heat-seeking missile. And then if he missed it, and say a running back dip-de-doo or whatever, and he goes outside, there's Newsome. If he goes inside, look at Chief Borders right here, right? This is trusting your teammates, right? If you go back to the very beginning, right? Chief Borders is in the jack position, right? His gap is the C gap, right? Inside the tackle right here, right? He's like Ty Robinson to be a little bit better, right? But inside the tackle, because guess what? They know and they trust Deshaun Singleton's going to be the free runner. Now, was the D-line perfect? No. Was Chief Borders perfect? No. You'd like to see a little bit more physicality right there on that double team with Ty, right? Okay, we can pick and choose right here, right? But watch Chief right here. Patience, right? Knows where it's going just because you know what you're doing. You're inside because you know you got a free hitter right here, or alley player, whatever you want to call it. And then you got the guy out there as a secondary overlap. And you got the sideline. So, I think right here, it's just a snapshot into what Tony White has done. And what these players have chosen to do. Take the coaching, embody your coach, be willing to do different things and get better at them, and go from there. And I will say this, look, I want to give the Mickey and those guys props as well, because I think part of what they did those last 7 weeks, right, was set the tone for this play. It was kind of like I call it a Mr. T starter kit. And then when you have Tony White that's came in and does what he's done, and you have a good foundation of players that want to be better, right, and have done good things defensively all from last year, and a big confidence boost is beating Iowa. This is how you're able to start out there or start this season pretty quick. But going forward, Steve, this weekend is going to be a big test, and it's not going to be perfect. Michigan is going to be good. They're going to get plays. Ideally, I think that they've made enough plays and gained enough confidence in themselves and as a unit that they'll be able to bounce back. And some of these plays that you've seen, both on offense as well, are a step in the right direction. Now you need to see it for a higher percentage. And and then you marry the special teams with it, and then you feel pretty confident.
Real quick, let's just touch on that Michigan game. Only 4 minutes left here, Jay. But what are your overall thoughts on it? Just early thoughts. I mean, I know Michigan. They coming in here 4-0. They just
Right.
beat Rutgers. They're leading Rutgers only 14-7 at halftime. But it was one of those games where you didn't expect Michigan to lose it at the end. But they've been kind of playing with their food for the first 4 games this season. What are your overall thoughts on Michigan coming to town?
I mean, look, they're number 2 team in the nation. I think this year that nobody's been really dominant yet. As far as being highly ranked. They're immensely talented.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Khakis is back, and it's going to be his second game.
Yep.
And so you expect them to be a little bit better. But I look at the Rutgers game, and I say, look, Nebraska's roster is definitely as good or better than that. Rutgers was with them, and they gave up a defensive touchdown, meaning Michigan scored on defense and blew the game open. But Rutgers has showed you a little bit of the playbook on how to compete with them and beat them. And so it's going to be a big challenge, and these guys are going to want to measure themselves against it. This is something that, listen, you have nothing to lose. There's not anybody in the nation that thinks you can win except for you guys.
That's right.
In that locker room in Husker Nation. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So go out there and just let it all hang out. And so, and there's no reason to be scared of Michigan, man. They're just men. I always say they're just dudes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're good dudes, but we're good too. They've shown you could be good. And if you want to make a name for yourself and, legendary, these are the games you get known for, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way it's got to be.
I think I don't remember which player last year said, but it was something to the effect of, we don't care about the uniform, we care about the guy. And it's just, I'm a guy too, you're a guy.
Right.
We're not looking at uniforms here and,
right.
and losing the game off a uniform. So
yeah.
Excellent stuff. I'm excited for that game. Memorial Stadium will be rocking. I'm sure Tony White's defense is really, really revved up for this one, to show the nation that, hey, we can do this against a really good offensive line, tight end program that Michigan is. So really good stuff as always, Jay. So for Jay Foreman, I'm Steve Marik, and that was the Blackshirt Breakdown, Louisiana Textile. We will catch you all later.